so excited to have you on with us today. There's so much to talk about here, but of course, being able to share this journey, Tara, I know it's been probably difficult for you, but wonderful and rewarding for you, right?
Definitely. It took almost 5 years to actually publicly share my story, it was long overdue. But I do feel that the response was so overwhelming, so supportive, and I'm just regretful that I wasn't able to share it earlier, because I do think that having that support is so crucial to a journey through infertility or miscarriage. And for us, we went on a long one. It was 24 procedures in a 5-year span, 8 egg retrievals, 6 failed transfers, and 4 miscarriages. So it was one of the more painful and harder eras of my life. I always say winning the Olympic gold medal was easy in comparison to that. So I think sharing my story and having these vulnerable, honest conversations breaks down the stigma surrounding infertility or miscarriage. And IVF, Friday is IVF, World IVF Day. So it's something to celebrate and honor. And I think today we're just excited to be partnering with Fertility Out Loud, which is an incredible online resource for people either starting their journey or anyone who's been on their journey that is looking for reliable, vetted information. There's fertility coaches that can help you through your process. And then there's also a wonderful community to find, and you'll be able to see and hear stories that are similar to your own. And I hope that will offer people support and hope.
Absolutely. And when we, it's always hard for us to go to the doctor, but when should someone actually come and see the doctor? At what point do you feel like you need to, okay, we need to address this head on?
Well, this is such an important topic of discussion because fertility is such a time-sensitive issue. And we know we have the biological clock to contend with. So knowing when to seek help is very important. We don't want people to wait longer than a year. If they're under 35, that's when it's time to seek out expert care for testing and treatment. But if you're 35 and older, you shouldn't wait longer than 6 months. And if you're someone who finds yourself in your 40s embarking on this journey of trying to conceive, we really want you to be more proactive and see a doctor at the 3-month mark.
And for both of you, what's the best way to talk to your friends and family about this? Because it might be it's hard on our end for us, so those of us who've gone through it to figure out how to explain it, but also on the other side, how people should receive it as well.
I think that it's important to know that you don't have to share unless you're comfortable. This is a really personal decision, and it's not one that anyone should take lightly. Unfortunately, there's still a lot of stigma and shame, and there really shouldn't be, because infertility can affect anyone. And if you're going through this and you're hearing this, it's important for you to hear that it's not your fault, and it's extremely common. You're definitely not alone. 1 in 6 couples or individuals may suffer with infertility. And I do think if you're comfortable, it can be a really amazing thing to open up about your journey. The mental health component to this should not be underestimated. Of course, it's a physical journey, but it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And from a mental health standpoint, it can feel really exhausting. And it's not always going to be a straightforward journey. It can take time and persistence. So looping in your inner circle, your friends, your family members, and finding a sense of community and being able to share your journey so that they can best support you, I think is key. I really do think it's important to be honest with people and let them know what you need, because as you mentioned, it's not always clear what the right thing to say or do is. For anyone who wants to know how to better support someone in their life who's going through infertility, avoid unsolicited advice, and really try not to sound judgmental. It's important to listen more than talk, and just let that person share what they're comfortable with, and don't shy away from checking in, even if they don't respond to your text. I often will text friends or family members that I've had in my life going through this journey. I'm just checking in. I know you had a procedure, but also don't feel obligated that you have to give me every update, and just kind of absolving them of that obligation and just letting them know that you're there and you're thinking about them, and really making an effort to not exclude them from things, but also giving them grace if they can't come to your baby shower, because that can be a really emotionally triggering thing. So just really trying to have compassion and understanding is the best advice I would give someone.
And would you say the same thing, Taryn?
Oh my goodness, you said it so beautifully, but there's so many different layers to the emotions that you feel when you're going through a journey like this. And I think especially the last part where it's, for me now, I have friends that are embarking on surrogacy or going through their own infertility journey. And I've learned so much, and it's hard. People don't know what to say, but I think your advice of, just showing up for them and being there and hearing what they need and understanding that you may not understand all of their feelings and emotions, but that constant support is so meaningful to people that are going through this hard time.
Absolutely. And both of you have had careers that people look up to, and they love hearing your journey and your story. What kind of advice would each of you give to somebody that wants to follow in your footsteps?
Well, I think becoming a fertility advocate is something that anybody can do. And we often, if you follow people online who've openly shared their journey, we see them go through that journey of saying, you know what, I went through this and the community showed up for me and I want to pay it forward. And Tara is a great example of that. But I do think this is something that never leaves you. And, it's important to be aware that even if you've overcome the infertility journey and you've gotten to your happy ending, this is something that can really still impact your mental health. And there can be a lot of trauma. And I think banding together as a community and showing up for each other, sharing information, sharing resources like fertilityoutloud.com, which is an amazing place to go for accurate information, fertility coaching and emotional support, and a sense of online community. I think sharing those types of resources with each other and really paying it forward and saying, this is what helped me on my journey. It may help you, but also doing it in a way that's balanced and not giving unsolicited advice. So really finding a way to strike that balance is key.
Absolutely. And if someone wanted to become a doctor in the way that you have to help so many people, what would you tell them?
Well, it was a long road to get here, but it is a very rewarding career. And I think it's a very specific type of career in medicine because you're sometimes dealing with individuals, but also couples. There's a lot of nuance and complexity surrounding the mental health aspects. And I think it's a very special relationship that I treasure with my patients to be able to help usher them through this journey.
Yeah. And Tara, what kind of advice would you give to somebody who wants to follow your footsteps? Hard to do what you did, but a lot of people would love to.
Yeah, I mean, for the figure skating, aspect of my life, I still say it's my first love because, being on the ice is always going to be home for me. And it makes me so happy, warms my heart when I see little girls out there, at 3 and 4 years old, testing it out. And I always wonder, maybe one day I'll be commentating on them, who knows? But again, at this point in my life, having, commentary, figure skating, and now my work as trying to, advocate for people who are going through infertility battles or miscarriage or thinking about surrogacy, and just sharing my journey where hopefully it could be the smallest little bit of hope or just making someone feel less alone. I think really validating someone's feelings that they are experiencing on a journey that's as nuanced as this is important. And for so many years, I felt so isolated that now I'm grateful I'm at the point where I can, talk about it and really be immersed in this wonderful community.
I love that. Well, my co-host is Drew Pearson, one of our great Dallas Cowboys, caught the Hail Mary, went in the Hall of Fame. And we always talk about those Hail Mary moments in your life or career where you just had to go for it and it worked out for you. Probably this journey has been it for both of you, right? To go down this path.
Definitely. For me, there was a lot of Hail Mary moments, and, there was a lot of disappointments and times that I thought, oh, this is it, I'm going to get my win. And I didn't. And it felt like Groundhog's Day, where I just thought, will I ever come out the other end? Will I ever become a parent? And then there were the wins that, just felt so incredible. And one of them was when my daughter Georgie was born, and just knowing that we went through a lot, but we got here, and I learned a lot, and there was a lot of trauma that I carry and baggage that I probably carry from this journey, but we got here, and I have so many friends in the infertility community that I wouldn't have had without this.
Yeah. Well, and last thing, what part of it is that success mindset that you have to have, that you obviously have had for years. So what is it that you tell yourself that kind of keeps you on the right path even when things are tough like this?
Well, I think, and especially it relates to an infertility or IVF journey, that it's not always that straightforward. It's not always quick. And it's as cliche as it sounds, it's a lot like skating. And that's what I the mindset that I used. And there were so many times I looked back on my career as an athlete where I had an awful competition and I fell 3 times and I had to get back up and keep going. And I had to get back out to practice. And it was hard. The first couple of days I didn't want to. And I sort of sat in that sadness, and then eventually that hope would creep in and the urge to just get back to work. And essentially in IVF, getting back to work is pulling yourself up and saying, okay, I'm going to make that appointment. I'm going to walk back in there and start again, because it can feel so daunting. And sometimes you can't, and that's okay too. So I think it's really honoring the feelings you have in the moment and doing the best you can.
That's beautiful. Well, please give us the resources that we need here, and before we let you go.
FertilityOutloud.com is an online resource where you can go for vetted, accurate, reliable information, as well as emotional support and access to fertility coaches.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for being with us, and thank you for both doing what you do and helping so many people. And we can't wait to help get the word out. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.